This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago. You're tuned into the TCSF podcast with Big Z. We got JC, Dynasty Fantasy Football, current champion of his league, and Ivan Vargas from the Tape Never Lies. Lots of stuff on the Tape Never Lies if you've been tuning in this week. But you're coming straight from you. I literally can't breathe and talk at the same time. We're coming straight to you from the 606 Moody Studios, powered by True Chicago Sports Fan. This is the Chicago Bears 2026 draft grades. Did they get it right? Did they fuck it up? We will talk all about that. Don't forget to go to 606media.com and get your official TCSF podcast merch. We got Nike stuff now, super cool stuff. We also have For the Love of Sports merchandise line. And if you're watching on your Facebook or YouTube or your Spotify account, make sure you subscribe, share, and hit that bell button so you know anytime that there's an episode that drops, whether it's live or on your podcast app. Remember, you can also check out the rest of the library, old episodes, exclusive episodes. You can also check out Imposicator myself. There's about 13 episodes there. Check out all of that stuff. So without further ado, let's strap it in, get ready for an unforgettable ride through the best of Chicago sports culture and beyond. Let's get started with our beloved Chicago Bears. And this was a draft to remember. It was a draft where the first round pick was something that fell into our lap. We felt like it was something that was a player that was expected to not be there for us. And while he was there, it was a definitely gimme, take him in. We're talking about Dylan Dieneman, safety from Oregon. He's an elite athlete, 4.3 speed, fell to the Bears at number 25, widely praised as a steal. He's already an immediate starter. He's a ball hawk. You pair him up in the secondary with Kobe. He fits the scheme. He has range, versatility. He should be a tone setter. JC and Ivan, what is your interpretation of Dylan Dieneman being drafted by Chicago Bears with their 25th pick?
I'll say this. I never expected him to drop to us. In every single mock draft, he was taken long before we had the opportunity to take him. But he's a perfect scheme fit in replacement to Byard. Similar play style as Byard, deep, over the top safety that can cover a ton of ground. Other than that, you look at kind of, how the rest of the draft fell and you go, well, damn, I wish we had kind of maybe went a different route because this guy fell here or that guy fell there. And we could have, picked them in the second or third round and had like a McDonald in the first. But, hindsight's 2020. And when we took Thieneman, obviously we were all happy about it. We were all excited about it because, putting him with Kobe is going to be huge and solve secondary issues, for a long time. Like those two are going to play together for the next 3 to 4 years and we'll be happy with it.
My turn.
Yeah. I can put this
no,
up.
That's absolutely right. You wouldn't have expected Dylan Dieneman to fall down. And I was just sitting there watching, just like somebody's going to take him right before. So when he got there, I wanted defense. I wanted defensive interior or defensive end, one of the two. But when he got there, it was just like, yeah, that's the guy they're going to take. It just made sense. Like you don't get a guy of his caliber to fall in your lap every day, in the draft all the way to 20-5 when I thought he was going to be taking 10 to 15 picks higher, possibly. You never knew. Like he has that type of talent. He has that type of elite athleticism and skills. And, he loves it. Like I'm cutting his tape right now. he is a dog. He's a guy that will help this secondary. And I honestly, if he does start, which I expect him to, I think you right away have probably one of the top, if not the top secondary, or at least safety tandems in the National Football League. So it's that pick for me was fine. I could take that pick and be like happy with it that you didn't go defensive line and you took Thieneman. I could get over that one. I could even get over Logan Jones. You take what some believe to be the number one center in the draft. Fine with that. What gets me going is you use the next two picks on offensive players. I understand the talent. I understand where their idea going to 13 personnel. They're going to run 3 tight ends out. They're going to. I get what they're trying to do, but I also don't like the idea, and this is out of Ryan Pohl's mouth, of having coverage sacks be your pressure. Coverage pressures be what you're relying on to get sacks, or at least to pressure the quarterback. That to me is ass backwards. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't make sense to me. Like football wise, it doesn't make sense. Maybe they're reinventing the wheel up there at Hallis Hall. I mean, they started the league basically, but maybe they're trying to reinvent the wheel. But again, when you look at it and you listen to them, they're saying, "Oh, best player available." Like these guys were rated higher on our board than anybody else. It's like, yeah, man, but you also say, well, for the pass rush and the guys that are on the team now, we got to coach them up better. It's like you weren't fucking coaching them good last year. You know what I mean? Like, what were we doing last year? Like, is coaching gonna put it over the fucking top? I mean, it can. It very well might be, but once again, it's like, and the was it Von the last guy from Georgia Tech, the defensive tackle, when they finally took a defensive fucking lineman. I don't mind him. I wouldn't mind him. I wouldn't have minded him if you went ahead and took a defensive fucking edge, where that tight end or where that fucking wide receiver was in Roush and Thomas. I again, it frustrates me. It frustrates me that they're going to go with the makeshift patchwork defensive line. Pray that these guys take this next step. Pray that the guy with the rod in his leg doesn't break his fucking foot again. Pray that fucking motivated Dio actually is motivated and fucking produces. Like, okay, a hope and a prayer. It better fucking work because your window is open and we all know how fast that shit comes. And I'm not trying to be a fucking Debbie Downer about it, but again, when it came down to it in big critical fucking games last year, San Francisco, the Rams game when we fucking threw an interception and had to get a stop to try to fucking hold them. You weren't able to fucking bring the heat with 4 guys. You were not able to pressure the quarterback. Jordan Love was statuesque at times, picking you apart. Matthew Stafford picking you apart. And he had a bad game that game, which is crazy. And he still was able to do things against that defense. I get it. You're going to try to coach him up, but sometimes you got to find talent, man. You got to put the talent on the field. We'll see. I don't want to be negative overall. I feel like it's a B+ draft.
Yeah, I was speaking with Zwazo off air, and I basically said, like, I see it as a B- to a C, and the reason why I lean towards a B+ is because, okay, we have our center of the future, we have a stud safety, and we have the replacement to Cole Kmet for the following year. Okay, so and as we know, Ben's offensive scheme, he runs 12 and 13 personnel. So he does use 3 tight ends. And we lost Smythe in the offseason. So I understand that. However, when you go back and look at the draft board, and yes, you know, you're sitting there, you're thrilled about Thieneman and everything of that nature, right? However, we could have drafted Peter Woods and or Caden McDonald right there at 25. And then who falls in our lap at 57? Emmanuel McNeil Warren was picked one pick after us. So we chose Logan Jones at 57, but Emmanuel McNeil Warren got picked the pick after that. So would I have been happier with a McDonald and a McNeil Warren draft rather than a Thieneman, Logan Jones? Because to me, Logan Jones would have been there at 60. So what, like, I don't, again, had it worked out, had it been McDonald, McNeil Warren, and then Logan Jones at 60, I would have been much happier with that than what we've ended up with. But in hindsight, we filled some of the holes that we needed. You know, the Xavier Thomas pick, that one was hard to swallow because consensus had those guys had like Thomas in the 200s, and we took him at 89. So we took him like 130 picks earlier than he was supposed to have been drafted based on, you know, consensus and all that stuff. To me, that tells me Ben Johnson is holding the reins of this thing, and somebody needs to like put a blindfold on him, you know, like some of the racehorses in the Kentucky Derby, and lead him out of the room. Because I understand.
I thought I worked pretty good on this. He literally tied up Dennis Allen in the corner and Ryan Poles was scared the entire time.
Oh yeah, trust me. That's exactly what that draft room was. Because when you're sitting there looking at some of these draft picks, it's like, okay, this has clearly been like pounding the table for these guys. And look, the wide receiver runs a 4.28. You know, and I've seen some stuff where they're like, oh, they might turn like Xavier Thomas into a running back. Like that was put out there by like a fan. And it's like,
you know what that sounds like? They said that they were gonna just bounce him back in the backfield and utilize just like a Debo, just like
you know what that sounds like? Do you know what that sounds like? That guy that we didn't want on the team and we finally got him off.
You're talking about Velus? That guy?
Yeah, I'm not gonna say his name. I'm not gonna say his name.
Well, at least this guy's like 22 years old. When we drafted Velus was like 25, 26. Listen, it is what it is. You know, again, when I sit there and look, even when we drafted, let me get to the third round, because where is it? Where are we? Like Xavier Thomas, right? I mean, I think it was Danny Sutton, Dominique Orange. I mean, there were a bunch of guys right there in the third round that it's like, why are we taking this guy?
Maybe because they didn't even scout them. How are they going to draft somebody they never scouted? I think they really had a short draft board, and they were sticking to it. That's what I think happened.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Caleb Tiernan was drafted at 97. He offensive tackle out of Northwestern. Would have rather had him than a wide receiver. Granted, you know, again, maybe they doesn't fit the scheme. Maybe they don't like him. You know, I don't know. But like I said, when you sit there with like Big Citrus on the board, and then, you know, Grayson Halton's picked at 107, and you're just sitting there like, what is happening? What is going on? Malik Muhammad, I'm happy with. You know, I heard that the cornerback coach was pounding the table for Malik Muhammad, and I kind of pointed out there that we did need cornerback depth. That I thought that would be a quiet position of need.
Probably one of the best picks they got in the draft. Besides,
I had him drafted a bunch of times in my mock. Like he's
We
he's
drafted him out
pretty
of your
much,
mock.
yeah, exactly. He was pretty much picked exactly where he should have been picked. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even have a problem with the back three. I really don't. It's only 2 picks in this draft I truly have an issue with, and that's Roush and that's Xavier Thomas. And to me, I don't. Okay, you want to say you got to get your 13 personnel? Fine. That's pretty much spelling Cole Kmet, right? Writings on the wall for Cole. Okay. You couldn't have told me you couldn't have found another guy in free agents to bridge that gap until next season, knowing that you need pass rush help. You had to get Roush. Is Roush going to be a fucking a superstar? I mean,
Well, again, that's why I sit there and say, why did we take Xavier Thomas when we could have taken Danny Dennis Sutton? We could have taken Grayson Halton. Both of those guys were there at 89, and I would have much preferred to have them over Xavier Thomas. So that's why, like I said, I give it a B- to a C, because, you know, again, Darren Smith, or Darren, however you say Smith's Smythe's name,
Darren Smythe.
He played 30% of the snaps last year. So 30% of those snaps have to go to somebody. And I do, like, after watching some of Roush's film and stuff like that, I do like him. To me, he looks like a Sam Laporta type, but he's actually 3 inches taller, bigger, and like I said, he can play. Roush was up there on on people's boards that, there were some other tight ends that were being taken before Roush, that it was kind of like why are those guys being taken? Because they're really only pass blockers. Like, they can't do both. So, maybe that freaked the Bears out and forced their hand to draft those guys earlier, because I believe there was Klein. Let me take a look.
Yeah, but can he rush the passer?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, that's the point.
But that's where I think, the Bears' logic is, we have Turner, who we don't know what he was.
We don't know what he could be after breaking his foot, and he already was hurt.
Right.
Prior to that.
And this is what
motivated Dio.
This is what polls keep saying, is that, well, we were seeing good things before they got hurt. Well, that doesn't mean anything to me.
Hey, the Bulls were pretty good before they all got hurt too, right?
Yeah.
So like I said, you're looking at, you picked up Gale Moore in the offseason, you picked up Street in the offseason, you brought back Jack Sanborn at linebacker. So and actually I did draft the Elliott, the linebacker we picked up late in the 5th. I did draft him in a couple mocks. He's a thumper, but he's not going to be a good coverage guy. He's a come downhill and make the tackle kind of player. He's really not a very good coverage player. Keyshawn Elliott. And that's another guy we were looking at right there instead of Xavier Thomas, right there at 60. We could have taken what's his name, Anthony Hill. Like, that would have been a huge upgrade. And it's like, instead we traded back, and Tennessee ends up taking Anthony Hill. And it's like, what are we doing?
I do like Keyshawn Elliott. Like, I mean, but I understand what you're saying. Like, there was opportunities to get guys that could probably have done, exactly what you were going to get in a guy like Muhammad or Elliott, or even was it Vander what the fuck? Jordan Vander.
Yeah, hold on. Where is it?
Jordan Vandenberg.
Vandenberg. Yeah. Okay. I just kept thinking box.
I mean,
I don't know.
I'll be honest with you. Like, when you look at his RAS score, I mean, he is a animal. But it's one of those, like, okay, as we know in the NFL, you can be a freak athlete, and it doesn't mean it's going to pan out for you in the NFL. Like,
I have that up here. There it is.
Yeah. I mean, he does play violent, though. I mean, I've seen some of what he's done.
But again, it's one of those where, who was the guy last year that was the freak athlete? He got picked by the Cincinnati Bengals. I think it's Shamar Turner or something to that effect.
Right.
The guy was a combine warrior, like he had like the most unbelievable combine that you could imagine, just blew everything like RAScore off the books. And then last year, and maybe it's because he didn't attend training camp because he didn't like the language and the contract they kept trying to feed him. So he didn't sign till like the week before the season started. But he had a god awful season. So it's one of those where it's like, look, you could be the most athletic person you want to be, but it doesn't always pan out, as we know, to the field and to the play. For whatever reason. That said, as we were talking, so at pick 56, the Jaguars took Nate Brockhurker, a Tennessee, Texas A&M tight end. And then the Rams took Max Clare out of Ohio State tight end. So I think those two coming off the board kind of freaked the Bears out and why they took Roush where they took him, because maybe they thought that Roush would not make it past them at 69. But yeah, I mean, where most of the time, like last year, where it seemed like the Bears had an answer for everything and they had an amazing draft, this year it seemed like they were out of sorts. Like they weren't expecting like Thieneman to fall to them, and then like they weren't expecting players that they wanted to get picked before they could have their chance at them. So like I really think that instead of Logan Jones, I think that early pick was supposed to be Gabe Jacas, and he got taken.
Well, that was another thing. Why wasn't there a thought of moving down with 25 slightly and picking up something, or moving up slightly and giving up a back end draft pick in order to get a guy that you wanted? I didn't. And Thieneman is one thing, right? Thieneman, if you want to argue that because of the talent, okay, I'll accept that. Why wouldn't you trade up?
I mean, I can tell you this: pick 26. There was a trade at pick 23, a trade at pick 24, a trade at pick 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, and 31. So you're just couldn't have traded back. Absolutely, they could have. I'm sure somebody was calling, to pick a guy in front of somebody in that. Like I said, the Bears were the only person to pick out of the last 7 or 8 picks in the first round. And granted, I think that's because they thought they couldn't pass up on Thieneman. But that said, absolutely, I would have loved to have seen them trade out of the first. And I think part of the reason that what really ruined that was the Rams taking Ty Simpson so early, that there wasn't that quarterback at the end of the first that teams were trying to move up to get. So I think that kind of ruined that for the Bears as well. But again, I'm not mad at what we did in the draft. I'm just upset with who we took and how early.
I am upset about the explanations though. Don't fucking tell me that you're gonna do something that
Yeah, don't tell me that basically McDonald is not an upgrade.
Right, exactly.
Old-ass Grady Jarrett,
right, exactly.
We're paying $20 million a year. Yeah,
exactly. Don't tell me that it's like, oh, these guys are. You had a wide receiver and a tight end, and I know we're talking about needs and compared to best player available. You can't tell me that those two guys were better than some of the draft picks. Danny Dennis Sutton, you didn't want to go after him. You didn't want to go after you want to trade up for a Gabe Jacas. You were good right there where you were sitting. You know what I'm saying? Even Logan Jones, even with Logan Jones at 60 to draft tight end and then go and draft a wide receiver. I mean, not at 6, at 69 because they had traded back, but to there with the pick after Jones to do that knowing that you still had pass rushers available is frustrating. It's frustrating.
Yeah. And again, I don't think Poles is going to come out and say like, no, we really wanted Jackass there. And, we would have taken Jones 2 or 3 picks later, so I think that they got stabbed there. And they got, jumped, and Jackass got taken right before them. And like I said, I think they panicked. They didn't know what to do. So they took Jones. And then they sat there at 60 and they were like, well, let's trade out and get more draft capital because once again, like they didn't know what to do with themselves. The 2 players that they thought would be there that, they probably had mock there the whole time and everything else, all of a sudden aren't there. And then they're freaking out.
Well, that's kind of what they did last year too, when they wanted to trade up for Travion Henderson, then they wanted to trade up for Scatter, but they couldn't get shit going, and then they started panicking, and that's how you end up with Ruben fucking Hippolyte.
Yeah. Well, what worries me more is like
by the way, them drafting a linebacker proves to me you fucked up with Ruben Hippolyte. So like Ruben will be a special teamer. And Keyshawn Elliott, who I think is better than Ruben Hippolyte, is going to get some time as a backup. That's how I see it.
Well, yeah, the fact that they brought Jack Sanborn back, that they went and got Bush, and then they're hoping Edmonds will come back. I mean, that tells you everything you need to know. They're probably wishing like Sewell comes back. So you're going to have Elliott, Sanborn, Sewell, Bush, and Edmonds. So those are your 5 linebackers right there. So Elliott and Hippolyte are definitely going to be playing special teams, 100%.
It was frustrating because I hung out with Ivan during this entire draft, and Ivan wanted to murder people. People.
Oh yeah.
It was bad.
Yeah.
I literally got to his garage and he's like, motherfucker. La, la. I'm like, dude, what happened? I just walked in. They fucking drafted a tight end. I was like, no. They drafted a wide receiver. No. I'm like, this is the wrong Bears team, right? Wrong ones. Oh my God. I get the tight end, not at that place. They lost a tight end. They want a blocking tight end. He's big. He's athletic. He's going to be Kokomet's replacement. It'd be cheaper. Obviously, Kokomet restructured his contract last week, so he's got 1 more year, this year and then next year, and then that's it. They're not going to re-sign him because he's going to get a big payday. The wide receiver, I have no idea why they picked him in the 3rd round. Xavier Thomas, 4.28 speed. They drafted him for his speed. You drafted they're thinking they're ahead of the game.
I expect to see a kick return. I expect to see a punt return back.
You better be Devin fucking Hester.
I expect to see some long, deep throws when you bust open that top, when you bust open that roof, and you're over the top. I expect to see them into the well. I expect to see you running down, streaking down the field on some of these bombs and running into the end zone. Because, like, don't get me wrong, I understand that they're rookies and whatnot, but again, the way that these coaches are saying, like they were able to get a lot of good work out of the young players last season, and they're fully expecting to coach better when it comes to the defensive line and the and the pass rush, I guess. But hey, at this point, I could only give my piece so often until you got to accept it and start rooting for these guys, because it's not like any of us are going to fucking not root for them. It's just there's questions.
I'm still waiting on the verdict for Indianapolis or Arlington Heights. So my fandom is still on the fence.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I've said if they move to Indiana, my fandom will go somewhere else. I'm not even playing. It's not the Bears' fault. It's the politicians of Illinois who are jackasses. Like they need to figure it out and stop playing games. But I've said if the Bears after 100-something years leave the state of Illinois, I don't care if it's 5 feet over the freaking border. I don't
What if
care
they
if you
move the
build
border?
I don't
What if they
care if
move
the
the
parking
border?
lot is in Illinois and the stadium is in Indiana. My fandom is done. That's just how I feel about it. Look, the bottom line, the long of the gist of the story is, I don't mind Roush. I think we could have taken him at 89, but again, I think that I really think that everything stems on that they lost out on Jaquez. When they lost out on him, I think it threw their draft off, and they freaked out.
Well, that was their again. That's their own fault. They didn't lose out. They fucking blew it. They could have. They knew he was rated high. If he was rated as high as they had him, somebody else had him just as high. And lo and behold, New England was the team.
Yeah.
So it's like to me, I'll say that one that them not going after the defensive end they had the highest is a mistake. But I'll also say I think you bit off more than you could chew, especially with the wide receiver. Tight end may turn out to be, I might turn around on that, but having those two back to back fucking killed me.
Absolutely.
Again,
I think once we see these guys on the field, I think our feelings will change about them because I'm telling you right now, Roush he's a great player, and like I said, once we see him on the field, he, in my opinion, he will be more of a blocker who can catch rather than Cole Kmet, who can just absolutely dominate guys out there and get open. Roush is a bit like Cole Kmet. He can get open, but it's a different type of open. It's because he's got a big body. He can box you out. He can go up in the air and get it. Type of guy, rather than like Colson Loveland, who can just torch you and separate and get wide open. But I really think that once Cole Kmet is gone, we're going to be happy that we have Roush. That's just my opinion on it. Like we said, do we think we could have got a different tight end later? Absolutely. Do I think it was a little bit of a reach? Absolutely. But here we are. This is what we have. What scares me the most is when you go look at our rivals in the division. I feel like they got only better. When you have Caleb Banks and Big Citrus now on the defensive line for Minnesota, like those are two animals on the defensive line for Minnesota now. Like that worries me. I don't know if it worries you guys.
I felt like the rest of the NFC made some solid picks for needs, and it wasn't best player available like we did. They went after some defensive players and some offensive linemen and some secondary guys that to supplement what they lost. So I felt like they had a better draft than we did when they went after trying to win this year. And I felt like this draft for us was trying to win 2 years from now, where you would a lot of these guys are young and will be the heir apparent. You're looking at the heir apparent for your center, right? For Brandenburg. So Logan Jones should
I'll be honest with Logan Jones, and win. Like you're a second round pick and you are a perfect fit for the scheme. You better go out there and beat out a guy that we gave up a 5th round pick for. You're a second round pick. We traded a 5th for Bradbury. You better go out there and beat Bradbury. That's just my opinion on this thing. And I understand, okay, maybe you don't want to give it to Logan Jones right away, that you're worried that he'll make some mistakes and play calls and et cetera, and whatever. And Bradbury's more quote unquote experienced player. But to me, like, you better be out there every day making Bradbury earn it.
You will see that. In my opinion, you'll see that kid push it, but you're going to see Bradbury start for the first, I would say, 4 games before the kid should be ready with signal calling, protections. It takes a while for a center to learn all that stuff, all that verbiage. If he's going to be literally the right-hand man to Caleb Williams and understand where protection needs to be put, it's going to take some time. And he's going to learn that from a veteran. Oh, yeah. That was good stuff, boys. Let's take a quick break. And on the flip side, let's talk some quick baseball. We'll end it with some quick basketball. It looks like Orlando is about to take a 3-1 lead versus Detroit. It's going to kill my parlay, but we're going to take a quick break. And on the flip side, we're going to talk some baseball about our Chicago team. So stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hey there, Chicago enthusiasts. Are you ready to take your fandom to the next level? The True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast has got you covered with some serious cool merch that screams Chicago pride. From cozy sweaters to trendy tank tops, we got it all. Show off your love for the city with our iconic red, white, and blue logo, or stand out with our exclusive collection for the love of sports. Whether you're lounging at home, breaking a sweat at the gym, or cheering on your team at a game, our gear is a must-have for all you diehard Chicago sports fans out there. Don't hesitate. Visit bonfire.com/store/606-media-store/ or simply just click the link in the description and snag your gear ASAP. Get ready to make some noise, show your pride, and embrace the Chicago spirit with True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast merch. Designed for you, the ultimate fan, for the love of sports. Hey guys, it's Steven.
And this is Sean, and you are listening to True Chicago Sports Fans.
Don't forget to listen to Nowhere on the Weekend. New episodes on Monday. You can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Yeah, so we're going to go do a couple of shots, so let's kick it back over to Big Z.
Welcome back to the True Chicago Sports Fans Podcast with Big Z. We got JC, Dynasty Fantasy Football, and Ivan from Tape Never Lies Network. Let's talk some quick baseball. The Chicago Cubs went on a tear after we tore them a new a-hole, and then they just took care of business, sweeping the Mets, the Phillies, and then losing 2 out of 3 to the Dodgers. And right now, I believe they're down to the Padres right now. So, they came back?
The Ballesteros hit a grand slam, 5-4.
Oh, well, I got the Orlando game. I had the Cubs game earlier, so.
The fucking little Bambino hit a fucking grand slam. That's my guy.
Definitely. So what are we thinking? We have a lot. We have 12 or 13 players on IL, and we have Horner balling out. He had that spectacular play the other day where it ricocheted and still got it to first. Imanaga has been consistent except for this past one. Suzuki has shown power and RBI production. The offense just needs to be more consistent. I know we were up and down at the beginning of April, but we went on a nice little run, 9 games, and we need more production. Ivan, what do you think the pitching staff needs right now?
Can I just hop in 1 second before Ivan says anything?
Sure.
Ivan, did you notice during that whole section he kept saying "we"? Is he a Cubs fan now?
Am I not watching Cubs games?
I'm just saying, like, have you switched fandoms?
No,
is
I'm just supporting. I'm supporting. Ivan went to the Sox game.
I just had to check. You know, there was a lot of "we," as in like "we the Cubs" and fandom. So I just had to check. I had to see if you've given up on those
supporting the team. It's True Chicago Sports Fans. I'm not talking them. I'm supporting. I want them to win.
Right.
Now, you even have met some guys at the bar that don't know what the fuck they're talking about, and they're mumbling like, "Oh, what do you think this is?" La, 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 la. Oh, fuck that dude.
I was just checking to make sure you still had your White Sox fandom card in your wallet. You know.
No. That's tattooed on my ass. It's all good. I ain't going anywhere. Ivan, what do the Cubs need on the pitching side?
Another pitcher.
Well, they couldn't get Giolito. Cubs are up 5-4. There you go.
Yeah, fuck if I know, man. Like, you know, this one's tough. Like, you're just gonna have to eat this shit. You hope that Steele comes back. You know, maybe start targeting guys you could trade for if you keep this thing, you know, going, keeping the team above 500, top of the division, you know, playoff hunt type of team. you're going to have to look for it if you want to really realistically make a push this season, if you feel like this is the team to do it with. So even when they do get healthy, because they will get healthy, they need to add another reliever. And for sure, I feel like they need to add another starter.
Well, this is why every time that the MLB draft happens, I sit there and scream at like my phone and at the TV, and I'm like, the Cubs drafted another outfielder. They drafted another outfielder. They drafted another outfielder. And then you sit there and go, where is the pitching? Why can we never just draft some pitchers? And like, it just never happens. Like they look for guys who can hit the ball and play outfield. That's all they do. That's all they draft. And then you sit there, and then when you need guys to, and I understand like the Cubs philosophy is to pay for pitching, but at the same time, sometimes it's nice to have young guys like a Skeens or some like that comes up through your rotation and through your farm system. They don't have to pay $20-30 million to that. You have a guy who's making, arbitration money, but he's your ace. He's the guy you go to. And that's not what the Cubs do. And it just frustrates me to all hell.
Well, it's not going to happen because you guys are not at the bottom of the well. That's why you're not going to get a Paul Skeens. All right. And then a Paul Skeens takes about 2 years to get up to the major leagues if he's that great. And if you look at the standings for the entire National League, there's really not a bad team right now. I mean, you can talk shit about the Mets and how they lost, was it 10 straight or whatever it was. But they're 9-19, so are the Phillies. Those teams will get hot. Right, you got the Nationals at almost around 500. The Marlins are around 500. The Braves are juggernauting their way all the way to the National League at 20-9. The Reds coming out of nowhere, 18-10. We thought they were a good team. We didn't think they were a first place team. Can they stay there? Brewers are at the bottom of the division, around 500, 14-13. The Dodgers 19-9. Padres 18-9. Diamondbacks 15-12. Giants 13-15, Rockies 13-16. Who would have thought that? The Rockies with 13 wins already. So it's not like it's going to be a while before some of these teams actually fall off, and then you can go pick off some pitchers that maybe go in your bullpen. Starting pitchers would probably be a premium. You don't have to. I don't think you have to draft prospect capital to get a high level pitcher, unless you're going to be giving someone off your major league roster.
Shaw. Because where does Shaw fit in now? With signing Bregman and all this other stuff, I understand. Is Saya going to be free agent next year? I believe, if I remember correctly. I think Saya might be a free agent. But at the end of the day, like, we talked like opening day, which I know is windy as hell on opening day, but there were like 4 balls hit to Matt Shaw in right field, and he looked lost. So, unless you're playing him at third base, which is his home natural position, like playing him in right field, we got Saya out there right now, which usually Saya last year was your DH. So the fact that you're playing Saya out there means that you really think Shaw was that bad out there, that you put a guy who didn't even really play the position last year. He DH'd the whole year out in right field. So is Shaw expendable? You guys tell me. I lean towards potentially expendable.
That's your guys' team, so you're gonna tell me.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I don't know.
I agree. He is. He's as expendable as, hey man, Gleyber Torres. You know what I mean? Like you're putting him out there in positions that he's not used to get his bat out there, because you want to showcase him out to teams. He could hit. He could play multiple positions. You're trying to fucking showcase Matt Shaw, because you're going to need to package him when you go ahead and try to trade for a pitcher.
Yeah, and I think that there would be teams that would be interested in Shaw as well at his natural position of third base. And then I don't know what Owen Casey's been doing recently, but I know he was hitting pretty well there for a little while. And then you sit there and go, why did we get rid of him? Because he's a natural right fielder.
He gave up 2 outfielders, so
And then the one saving grace is we do have Alcantara, who's tearing it up in the farm system, or was tearing it up in the farm system there for a little while, just smashing 460-foot homers, 430-foot homers. But I guess when it comes down to it, we'll see what happens there at later in the season. But I agree with you guys. We definitely need a starting pitcher or a top end reliever. I know is it Palencia or whoever our reliever is? I believe is out right now. Due to some injury, but should be back soon enough. I believe he was on a 2-week, so another week maybe.
Yeah, you guys are the walking wounded when it comes to your injuries. Riley Martin, Daniel Palencia has the left lat strain. You got Eason Roberts, Jackson Wiggins, Caleb Thibar, Hunter Harvey, Porter Hodge, Jordan Wicks, Cade Horton, Justin Steele, Tyler Austin, Shelby Miller. I mean, Jesus, it's pretty bad when you're missing so many key players that fill out your roster. That removes the stress for the rest of the guys.
I mean, even if Steele could come back and be, the 1 inning, closer, or 2 inning, middle relief, like I'd be fine with that, especially coming off the injury he's coming off. Like I said, if he can give us anything, that would be great. But that's still, I feel like, a couple months away.
Yeah, it is. Let's flip over to the south side of Chicago, where me and Ivan took in a game this past Saturday. It was a close game. It was a good game. They gave it up in the extra innings, but it was a good game. And Ivan, what happened to your jacket?
Oh, I sold it.
Wait, what?
So we all got the jackets, right? We got there in time. We waited in line. Everyone, we all got a jacket.
Oh, it's a giveaway. Okay.
Yeah, it was like kind of like a starter kind of pullover. Really cool. And it's about the 6th inning or something like that. 6th, 7th inning. We go to the restroom, and some guy goes up to him and is like, "Hey, I'll buy that off you," and offers him a good amount of money. And I was like, "Screw it, let's go," and took the cash. I don't blame him.
Both of you, or just
no? I kept mine.
Okay.
Sox fan, so I definitely kept it. So I don't blame him. I probably would have done the same thing if I was on the other side of town and I got a cool thing, and I'm like, "Oh,
now the bobbleheads. If I get a bobblehead, that's a different story.
okay."
You're gonna have to pump them numbers if you want that shit. You have to pump them numbers.
Pump them numbers up. I did see it on Facebook Market for $100, so you could have kept pushing them, but it's all right. You got guaranteed money.
Yeah, it was right there.
It was right there in the sweet spot. The White Sox did lose 2 out of 3 to the Nationals. 2 of them were in extra innings. So again, the White Sox team is going to be a competitive team. Murakami is going to keep hitting bombs. Lots of bunting, lots of small ball. The pitching has been holding up pretty well. So it's going good. Right now they're down 3-0 to the Angels. That's to be expected. Right now, like we talked about, there's a lot of teams that are around the 500 mark. The Astros are 11-18, Royals, White Sox 11-17, Red Sox 12-17. They started winning once they fired Alex Cora. The American League champs 12-16. So there's a lot of parity where these divisions are very close together. On the American League side, the Yankees are 19-10, the Rays are 17-11. Other than that, everybody's around the 500 mark and is going to be beating up on each other. Is Ivan smoking on air again?
No,
not this time.
Ivan's about to go to sleep.
I was going to say, Ivan's been yawning.
I like after this segment, I'm about to close my eyes. Like
yeah. So for the White Sox, the young core continues to produce. I don't know what's going on with my draft, but Montgomery has a pretty good bat. Murakami's had a pretty good bat. Vargas has pretty good bat. The outfield, one of the kids got separated his shoulder. I know Ivan was watching, and then he turned away. He's like, "What happened?" I'm like, "Oh, the dude separated his shoulder. He dove for a ball, and so that guy's out for a bit." Again, the guys in the outfield, those guys are not gonna be there until Braden Montgomery comes up, and the rest of the guys are developing. So I'm waiting till the end of May when they bring everybody up, and then it's going to be a packed house at the cell or the G rate or whatever you want to call that place. Whatever. All right. I'm gonna let Ivan go to bed. And we are going to talk Chicago Bulls really quick with me and JC. So Ivan, thanks for jumping on, brother.
Thanks, guys. Later.
Later.
Have a good night.
Yeah, I'm losing my breath at this too. But the Bulls front office issues, we talked about. Well, I talked about it last week. I know JC was working. The Bulls front office, they cleaned the house, and now they have to get their shit together very quickly because you have the draft and the combine and all that stuff coming up. Top targets: Tim Connolly. He built another Denver person. He built the Denver contender. Trajan Langdon, Calvin Booth, and Sam Hinkie. I don't think Sam Hinkie's going to be the person because he's going to be too.
Well, I know
costly.
that there was some guy that used to be an agent that was very well known and respected. He already bowed out. He already said no thanks. And unfortunately, I feel like that might be a lot of the people, that are going to be considered with the Bulls, because let's be honest, what team do you have other than Buzelis and Giddey? Who do you have on this roster? And granted, yes, you have the Bulls pick and the 15th overall pick, but
and $65 million.
Still yet, like, it's not good.
I mean, it's
we better pray that we get like the number 1 overall pick.
Yes,
or
definitely,
something.
Definitely.
And then really what we honestly should do is then trade that to get like 3 first, for future firsts, because that's how bad our roster is like, just accept the fact that we're going to rebuild for like 2-3 years and build it right, but just trade away the 15th pick, trade away our top pick, trade away both, and get like 5 firsts over the next 2 to 3 years, and just, unfortunately admit to Buzelis and Giddey, like, hey, this is what we got to do. Like, we're sorry.
Yeah, you're definitely going to have to bite the bullet, right? If in order to build this organization, you're going to have to burn it down all the way down, complete burn down. Like,
yeah. And like, I know you've asked me in the past, like, would I trade Buzelis? And unfortunately, at this point, I might, just because it's one of those where, like, I don't know how many years he has left on his contract, if it's 2 or 3, because, obviously we drafted him, but I don't know, I'm more of an NFL contract guy than an NBA. So again, I don't know how many years Buzelis would have left, but it's one of those, like, is he going to want to lose for the next 2 years? I highly doubt it. Giddey, I mean, guy's a triple-double machine. Is he going to want to stick around for 2 losing seasons? I doubt it. So, like I said, if we trade away our first to get first, and basically we get somebody in here with some, cojones to sit there and say, no, you're going to pay us, and you're going to pay us well for Buzelis, and you're going to pay us, and you're going to pay us well for Giddey, and we actually get some picks out of it, rather than AK that would have sold him for a freaking donut
and a bag of marbles. Yeah. He's got the Bulls exercise their option for the 26-27 salary, which is $5.7 million. There's a team option again for next year, 7.5, and then his free agent year is 2028 as a restricted. This is the year you trade him then.
Right.
And again, I love the kid. I don't want to get rid of him. But if you're going to do this correctly, you burn it all the way down. Get as many draft picks, like JC said, for Buzelis, for Giddey.
Yeah, I hate the idea of it. I hate it.
I mean, they're going to suck for the next 7 years. But
yeah, but at the same time, they're not going to be happy being on this team. And you could sit there and say, well, I don't. When does Patrick Williams' money come off? Isn't it like 2 years from now,
2 years from now.
or is that next year? 3 years?
Hold on. I just pull up the Giddy one. The Giddy one is
You pull that up. I'll pull up Pat Wills.
100 million, beginning to a 25 cents. So Giddy's got 3 more years. So it was this one that we just had, and 3 more years.
Pat Will 28-29.
Okay,
So
28-29, and Giddy's done 29-30.
So Pat Will still got like this year and 2 more.
Yeah.
So yeah, burn it down. Burn it down.
Burn it down like
because that Pat Will contract absolutely just crushes you. I mean, and that's what it is that. So the same year that Pat Will's $90 million contract comes off the books, that's when Booz Ellis and Giddy are due up. So at that point, you might as well have nobody on this team, and 3 years from now, be able to sign a bunch of guys to a bunch of max contracts. And just, like I said, get a bunch of young guys. Like I said, get all the first round picks you can. Like I said, Booz Ellis, hey, I want a first, 2 twos. Make your demands and let it be known he's out there. And like I said, they're going to have him for 2 years under control, 5 million, 7 mil. Cool. All right. Same thing. Giddy. The only problem with Giddy is you did pay him, so his contract's up there, but somebody's going to want him.
Yeah.
And he's worth a first. He's a young player still. You know, he's been, you know, I know there's controversy that follows him, but he's been a model citizen while he's been here. You know, and it's one of those where I don't see a team having a problem with it. So I would demand a first and a second there. Or maybe 2 first.
You probably get 2 first, or someone that's a contender that needs that third piece to put them over.
But again, imagine if we had taken a first for freaking Lonzo, we had taken the first for Caruso. Like, what were we thinking?
We would offer a first for Andre Drummond.
This is what kills me about AK is like you had the opportunity to make your team better for guys who were bench players and sixth men. And you said, nah, I'm good. And now you have nothing. You have nothing.
Yeah. It looks like the Bulls are definitely at a crossroads of what they need to do and who's going to take this position, and then what is the direction moving forward. And will ownership get out of the way? Because there was no reason Jerry Reinsdorf should have been chiming in if Mike was in charge. All right, as simple as that. The whole Billy Donovan thing. Why is the old man chiming in? Stay on the White Sox side. Let the kid run.
Look, and I get it. You think Billy Donovan's a great guy. He's amazing. He's whatever. No GM is coming in and being like, yeah, I'm keeping Billy.
No, we've seen that what happened with the Bears. It's the worst thing
never. Like, to me, it's a horrible situation. Like, when you clean house, start over from nothing. It might hurt your pocketbook. It might hurt attendance for a year or two. Deal with it, because this is what you all put together, and now you as owners need to suffer for a year or two. And then maybe you'll understand that with better product becomes better everything.
Yeah. Well, it'll be in time for that whole complex that he's building. That'll be up in about 4 years, 5 years. So it'll fit the timeline. It'll be a great team with a great venue and supplemental venues all the way around. So it's the time. It's the time. So I think I'm good here. JC, I'm already got no voice.
Just a little
yeah, what you got?
The Blackhawks should end up with, I believe, a top 3 pick. So that's good news for the Blackhawks. We're gonna continue to put some talent around Bedard, continue to get younger, continue to get some
Tuesday,
more
May
talent.
5th. Yeah, Tuesday, May 5th is
So that's coming up. That's in a week.
Yes. Yep, that is in a week. Okay, April 27th. That's today that it was updated.
Here,
So
let's
I'm looking at this. The Blackhawks have how much percentage to get the number 1 pick? The Canucks pretty much have a 1 in 4 chance of winning the lottery. The second worst team, the Blackhawks, have a 13.5 chance of landing the top pick. Meanwhile, the Rangers, who finished third last, have an 11.5. So good odds of getting another player that's going to supplement. And I've been watching a little bit of hockey playoffs. It's been fun. Lots of good fights. Lots of overtime games. So hockey is fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, basically, we're guaranteed top 4 pick.
Yeah.
I don't keep up with like the younger talent of, let's see, NHL draft prospects. I just kind of want to see, who some of these names are, just real quick. We got a 5'11" left winger, 6'4". So Gavin McKenna is number 1. Keaton Verhoff. Carson Carrolls, 6'2", 198 defenseman. Chase Reed, 6'2" and 195 defenseman. Caleb Meritra, 6'2", 182 center. So, I mean, we could definitely always use some defensemen. That's for sure.
Yeah, because our goalie was taking 50 shots a game. I mean, that's gotta stop. And then a big dude like that, 6'4", 212, and he'll be beef up to about 230. Yeah. We need some enforcers for Kane. Not for Kane, for Kane.
For the goalie.
Yeah, for the goalie.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here scrolling. I'm like, where's the best goalie? So I don't, and unfortunately I'm not seeing any goalies. So I don't know if they list goalies as defensemen. But yeah, it seems weird that there's I'm at like pick 70 and I'm not seeing anything for goalies.
Yeah.
So they list them as defensemen. But yeah, that's weird.
All right, JC, I'm gonna cut this up. I'm gonna go check on my dog. He's a little ill as well as am I. It's been a weird week. So let's sign off. And we'll do this again soon. If any news breaks, we'll do some emergency stuff. And once my voice gets back, I'll try to be on here a little bit more often. I got softball now. Sound like I'm Eddie. I got softball.
Boy.
Shout out to Eddie. We had the pinball convention this weekend. All right, y'all. That's it for today. Thank you, fans, for listening. Thank you to Ivan from the Tape Never Lies for joining us. Thank you to JC for always nerding out on football. This is why he is the champion of the Fantasy Football League. Thank you to our listeners for sticking with us with over 300 episodes, supporting us through all of it. To our sponsor, 606 Media and True Chicago Sports Fans, thank you. Check us out on social media and everything down there. I always get this wrong. I don't know what to do with my hands. True Chicago Sports Fans at gmail.com. Want to ask us a question or you want to ask us about sponsorships? We're taking sponsorships opportunity for the Bears season. All right, y'all. For Ivan and JC, I am Big Z. We'll see you next time for next week's episode. And until then, be good to each other for the love of sports.